Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to do an update, a 6-year later update to the video I covered yesterday, which was titled, She Rejected Every Guy Believing She Deserved the Best, Now Complains She's in Her 30s and Alone. And guys, those two articles, like I said, that was about the gal who was in her 30s. She writes for these various online blogs and everything. I was essentially complaining because she was in her 30s and has no guy. And yet, she has all these ridiculously high standards where you have to say, what do you bring to the table, ma'am? And complain she's alone. And I did that particular video because there's a perfect example of what is out there today. That set of high standards, and yet, they complain that they're alone. And what do they bring to the table? And I mentioned when I did a video yesterday, I read those videos because it came out from the fall of 2017, and she had all her complaints and whining and complaining, and yet she was never willing to do anything about herself to change herself because she thinks she's so amazing. And I ended it saying, fast forward 6 years, 2023, when she did her last article, and no surprise, she was alone. Well, a lot of you guys wanted to know what happened in 2023. I really was going to leave it there, but since you guys asked, I'm going to cover the a couple articles that she wrote, showing that she'd learned nothing. And again, as you all recall, this was the gal who, she was in her 30s at the time, did not want to be with a guy who was younger than her. She did not want a guy that was divorced. She did not want a guy that had kids. She herself didn't want to have kids. She didn't want weak guys, all these type of things. Well, let's be honest here, since most marriages end in divorce, at least half, guys in their 30s or 40s that would probably be in the age range she date, well, guess what? That takes them out of the equation. Guys that are younger than her, that takes them out of the equation. Guys with kids, that takes more men out of the equation. Weak guys, well, I can understand her not want to be weak guys. That takes them out of the equation. So who's left? Well, obviously, we all kind of connected the dots because I read the comments that she's looking for the top 3 or 4% guys out there, and those guys don't want a gal like her. And I might add, as you all recall, she, based on all her things she was saying about being empowered and strong and all that, and obviously having a strong personality, she's masculine. And no guy wants to be with a masculine woman. It's a turnoff. It's like being on a date or in a relationship with another guy. And guys that want to be with women don't want to be with other guys. And so the only guys she can attract are weak men because, she has that masculine energy and they got the feminine energy. It goes on and on. And at the end of the day, it's like what we see out there, and guys just don't want to deal with this crap. Well, again, guys, I'm going to go through 2 articles here showing you 6 years later. One is from the late summer of 2023, and the last article she wrote was, I believe, October and November 2023. And I'm going to save the best for last, which will be the last article. And the last article's title is, I don't believe in good men anymore, and I don't know what to do. But the first one I'll do is where she's single here. And this article is titled, If You're Worried You're Going to Be Single Forever, Read This. So obviously, she's single again. So it says, sometimes you're so single that it feels like it will never end. You don't even remember the last time you held a guy's hand, had a decent kiss, or even ate any reasonable prospects. You want to keep your hopes up that love is out there waiting for you. But it's difficult. If you're pretty sure you're going to be single forever, and you're spinning out about it, before you go any deeper in the abyss, take some time to remember these things. Now, obviously, this is a point where she's single. Again, big surprise. And it's trying to reassure all the gals out there that there's hope. There's hope. Number 1, it's all about perspective. Single is your current situation, and you can't magically wish it away. Oh, back to the magic crap. Remember the magic stuff from the other video? Why not make the most of it instead? Be as selfish with your time as you want to be. Do everything you always wished you could when you were dating those guys who weren't right for you. Live your life fully instead of feeling sorry for yourself. Well, I mean, that's honestly good advice, but still, a little detail there. The guys that weren't right for you. We know darn well, based on the previous video, that no guy was good enough for this particular woman. Number 2, your single status is temporary. Take advantage of it. You're not going to be single forever, as much as you might think you will be sometimes. You'll meet someone when you least expect it, and then you'll look back and regret all the time you wasted worrying about somebody that you couldn't control. Live in the moment, live in the present. Don't try to predict the future because you can't. 3, you'll miss it when it's gone. So here you go. You're complaining because you're single, and then when you have a guy, then you're going to be missing it and complaining that you're not single anymore. No making her happy. Trust me, you will. Look back at all the times you were unhappy in relationships and wished you could have your single life back. Well, you got your wish, didn't you? The grass is always greener on the other side, but it doesn't have to be that way. Change the way you view your single life, and you'll be amazed at how content you'll be. We've obviously for 6 years or longer, she's been complaining she's single. So all of a sudden, she's be amazed and being content about being single. No, she's not. 4, it won't last forever, really. It feels like it will, and of course, you can't actually know when it will end. It might be a while, it could end tomorrow. You have no idea. Either way, you have to enjoy the life you're living now. If you aren't happy single, you won't be happy in a relationship either. Well, we know darn well this woman is never happy, right? But again, she's in this reflective moment at the time of this article, telling all the single gals just like her, oh, it's okay, it's amazing and great, you're going to be okay. 5, you have an amazing life already. Really? Because you've been writing articles saying how it's not amazing. If you look around you and take it all in, you'll realize what a beautiful life you have. You'll attract what you're giving out. If you are enchanted with your own life and comfortable in your own skin, you can get the kind of guy you want. If you're living miserable day to day, dissatisfied and bitter, you'll attract that kind of energy instead. Well, that is good advice, but I know how this woman writes, and she obviously is not very happy and negative, in my opinion, so obviously she's attracting those types. 6, if you aren't happy single, you won't be in a relationship. Well, are these types ever happy? We know the answer to that. Again, this is very true. You have to be in love with yourself before you truly love a man. No, you should not be in love with yourself. I can tell this woman is in love with herself, and a lot of modern women are in love with themselves. You love yourself, but you don't be in love with you. That's fucked up. There are reasons that your past relationships have not worked out. Take this time alone to examine why and to figure out what's going wrong. You can shape your own destiny, believe it or not. By being complete and happy and grounded in your own way, you can figure out the man you really want in your life. Well, notice she said here, there are reasons your past relationships haven't worked out, and it's a time to examine why and figure out what was going wrong. That would mean taking accountability. And remember in the last video how she was talking about there's always things about herself, but she's not going to change. Not going to change for any man. So is this a do as I say, not as I do type of advice? 7, maybe you just need a change of scene. Why are you single? It could be entirely circumstantial. It could be environmental. You might just need to get out and run in social circles where you meet the men that you want. What are you interested in? Try to meet other people in that area and network. You definitely won't find the guy you're interested in by sitting alone in your couch every night. Poor dude is out there waiting and you're just hiding from him. Well, I agree. If you're single, want to meet people, you get out. But if your personality and who you are obviously is going to be the same whether you are in your current city or you move someplace else 1,000 miles away, if nothing's changed about you, you're the same person that has negative qualities, you're going to get the same result. But remember, in the video, what I did yesterday, she doesn't want to change anything about herself. I agree, you don't change positive things about yourself, but even negative qualities that repel people, then you got to make some changes or you're going to keep in that hamster wheel of life and not get anywhere. 8, you have to be proactive. If you have problem patterns in relationships, identify them now. Work on your own issues. Maybe you're scared, you'll get out there and meet guys and potentially have your heart broken. No one likes disappointment, but thinking about ways too counterproductive. You have to figure out where you need to go and what you need to do in order to meet the man that you want to date. You can't worry that you're going to be single forever if you're not doing anything to change it. 9, the sooner you stop worrying about it, the easier it will be. There's an idea. You're wasting all this time and energy trying to solve a problem that might simply need to be left alone. Focus on positive aspects of your life and trust that's where you're meant to be. Manifest what you want to happen and it just might happen. So you can see this advice she's giving for the single gals out there, because she's single too, is actually not bad. Some elements to this. I mean, really, I'm being honest here. The thing is, we know this is nonsense because, well, wait till you see in the second article I cover here. 10, the happier and more confident you are, the more likely you are to attract the right man. Well, I agree with that, but we know this chick isn't too happy. She describes herself as being very strong personality, which will turn off any guy. No one wants to approach the bitter girl in the corner drinking too much and getting aggravated. Expand your universe, go get what you want, and take control of your future. Nothing is more attractive than a woman who's in control of her life. Yeah, I disagree with that. If you give off an aura of confidence, happiness, and kindness, everyone will want to be around you. Well, that's different, but based on the previous video, this doesn't sound like this chick who's writing this. I gotta wonder if it's the same woman writing this particular article. 11. It may take a while. This is the brutal truth. Your love may not be around the corner. Maybe you just aren't ready yet. And don't even know it. When it does happen for you, you will know and you will understand why it took so long. It'll all make sense eventually. You might not be single forever, but you might be single for a while longer. Be patient. Again, I think this is one of her moments when she's trying to reassure herself and is trying to take the positive route. But again, wait till second article. And number 12, you're better off waiting for someone who's worth it. Now our girl's coming out here. Nope. Better stay single forever till you find your perfect guy. Yeah. You heard it all before. It's true, though. Why waste time with that guy you know isn't the one? Just to pass the time. You got better things to do. You might miss out on your real man if you're distracted by some player. Don't get caught up in the trap of being bored and lonely and wanting someone random to focus on. Now she's coming out, which is going to lead to our final article here. Why did she say player? Interesting. Because we know darn well this woman, based on what we connected the dots in, I read a lot of the comments, the type of guy she no doubt went for were the bad boys, the Chads and Tyrones, the players. And those guys aren't the guys that you settle down with. And hence you can see why some of these gals are so bitter. Oftentimes these gals that have such high standards, they'll either pick the small percentage of guys out there that really are highly successful, have good qualities, but they don't want them. Or they'll go after the Chad and Tyrones that aren't intimidated by them, and they toss them to the side of the road when they're done, and they're bitter. But this whole thing about waiting for someone who's worth it, you're the guy that's the one. Well, the older women get, they ought to be more realistic about their standards. But the irony is, the older they get, the more so-called standards they have. I've known women like this, and they're still single in their 40s and pushing 50s, and their lists are ridiculous. Now the main event. Now we're going to see, now she'll be back, the girl we knew from the previous video. This article is titled, I don't believe in good men anymore, and I don't know what to do. Now this is some serious man bashing. And this is the last article she published on that particular blog or website here. And clearly she's having a bad day. And holy crap, the lack of accountability. She says here, I used to think that there were a lot of good men in the world. Then I got older, and my experiences turned me into somebody completely jaded who has no faith in guys whatsoever. It's not just me either. A lot of my friends have gotten screwed over too, and we're all kind of over it. Yes, I know, not all men and all that, but I'm truly questioning whether there are any decent dudes out there anymore at all. There we go. So it's all the guys' fault. I know she said all her friends the same thing. Well, you know, birds of a feather flock together. So I'm going to guess probably she and her friends all date the same type of guys. And if her attitude is there's basically no good men out there, which is nonsense because there's plenty of good men out there. In fact, there's better men out there now than ever because I'd say a lot of guys are starting to realize, at least that absorb this material, that they are allowed to have standards too. They bring something to the table too. They don't have to accept anything. But then again, that can be considered bad men to these types. I think these gals are simply going for the Chads and Tyrones and the bad boys because they think that's the catch, and they get treated like shit, so they assume all guys are scum. Number 1, I don't trust them. I love to be able to open myself up and be vulnerable with a man, but I'm incapable of trusting men anymore, no matter how hard I try. I feel like as soon as I let my guard down, I end up getting hurt. It happens every single time without fail, so I don't want to do it anymore. I know that I'll never have a happy, healthy, fulfilling relationship without trust, but life has made me suspicious and anxious. Especially after guys have promised that they will never hurt me and then turned around and done exactly that at the first available opportunity. I don't want to get burned yet again. Well, nobody wants to get burned, fair enough, but who are the guys she's going for? Does this sound like just your average nice guy or good guy? And when I say nice guys, there's nice guys in terms of like what your average guy might think, just a good guy, and what women categorize as a nice guy. So let's just say it's just your average good guy. And there are plenty of good guys out there that don't play games, that aren't going to cheat. Do we really think that those type of guys are pulling this crap on her, making her so jaded? No. She's gone for a certain type. So don't complain, lady, and to all the women out there that complain like her, when you're going after guys who you know deep down are never going to commit to you, who are going to cheat on you, who are going to jerk you around and all that. You know, you don't feel bad for people like that. Number 2, we're just getting started. I don't think they're capable of emotional maturity. Gee, who's she describing here? Even the best guys I know don't seem to be very emotionally mature. They certainly aren't very mentally mature. Are there any men out there who just aren't little boys at heart? It kind of weirds me out. I don't feel like women are like this way at all, so I don't get where it all comes from. I just want a man who's on my level, and that's been impossible to find. What's your level? I've heard your level from the past video of all the things that you want and things you aren't willing to change about yourself and how you're strong and empowered and you this. Your level really would turn off a lot of guys. Nobody wants a hard-headed boss G.I. Joe woman. Not at all. And again, you're going for the wrong guys. 3, I think they'll do whatever they can to get away with it. Like, a lot of women don't do that either. I know it sounds cynical, but that's the way I feel. I think that if he knew he wouldn't get caught, any man would cheat. I don't think there's a guy out there who wouldn't give in to temptation. It makes me sad to admit that even I feel this way, but it's true. I've seen it happen time and time again, and have yet to have any guy prove otherwise. Really? That's your attitude, that every guy out there is a cheater, or would cheat given the situation? That's bullshit. I've been out here on YouTube 5 years. I have done probably 4,000 plus videos and thousands of other things I read but didn't make it to video. Plus I've been around the block. No, most guys don't cheat. But the guys that are really the top desired guys, the Chad and Tyrones, they cheat a hell of a lot. Sure, I agree on that. But most guys, she's labeling all guys into that category based on the small percentage of guys out there that are scumbags. That's how jaded she is. It's nonsense. Who is she going for? You can't whine and complain, attempt to get people to feel bad for you when you keep making poor choices who you get involved with. Number 4. I've seen too many shady behavior to trust anybody. How can I believe men when I've seen so many of them lie firsthand? There are a lot of posers out there. They act like their girlfriends are their world, and all the while they're messing around behind their backs. The girls have no idea. I feel sorry for them, and I'm terrified of becoming them. I've seen way too many BS to believe men are honest, stand-up guys. Again, this is the attitude out there. And oh yeah, I'm going to say what probably all you guys are thinking too. Are we supposed to believe that she's been sweet and innocent all along? That she's never cheated on a guy? She's never lied to a guy? Never manipulated? Never done all this crap? Come on here. 5, I get burned every time I give them the benefit of the doubt. Who are you giving the benefit of the doubt? Remember, she said in her previous video how she can't stand weak guys. Basically, guys the type of guys she attracts. It's like they know they have some perverse desire to ruin everything. I don't get it. I hold out and I stay guarded, and then I finally let them in, and they toss my feelings aside like garbage. 6, I found out that every guy who seems great is not. Well, then clearly you're picking the wrong guys, honey. Everyone has flaws, but I think that everyone should also at least try their hardest to be good people. I do. I can't even count how many people and men I've met who seem decent at first and turn out to be horrible. I've seen my friends go through nightmares with supposed good guys. I simply don't believe it anymore. Well, what's the definition of these good guys? And I don't think she means like good by their nature and personality. It's probably what they're good on paper. Certain high-level jobs, certain income, certain resources, probably 6 feet tall or higher. I wouldn't say six-pack, but definitely in good shape. Probably popular with the ladies. That could be considered to be good men, when in actuality that's just on paper. And usually, first of all, let's be honest here. What percentage of guys out there are above 6 feet tall, have a six-pack, or in very good shape? 6 inches or more down south, 6-figure salary, or the higher 6-figure salaries. What percentage of guys really has all that together? I'm sure it's very small, let alone somebody has just one of those. But those are probably what she and her types go for, and, those guys can have any girl they want, and a lot of them are sleazeballs. 7, I don't think I'm asking for all that much. We saw your video from last time, and all the things that you wanted and how you narrow down the dating pool, you are asking for a lot. I just want an honest man who doesn't cheat on me and doesn't lie to me. It seems that that should be the bare minimum requirement, and yet I cannot find it. Even if they seem genuine, they end up hiding things from me or lying to avoid conflict. That's no way to have a relationship. It's depressing. Well, I have no problem with that request. Nobody should be with somebody that cheats, lies, deceives, all that crap, you know. But again, who is she going for? Because, I guarantee you. And by the way, I forgot to mention something, the obvious. The last video, the last two articles, she was in her 30s. We're fast forwarding 6 years later. Obviously, she hasn't learned a damn thing. And she's probably now 40. And still, same thing. Same type of guys. 8. I expect the worst of every man at this point. Well, that's a horrible attitude going into the situation. You go in with a negative attitude, this is what you're going to get. I don't like feeling this way. I want to believe that I will find a great man who wants to be with me and whom I can trust. Define great man. I know they're out there. That decent guy exists. I just see so much evidence to the contrary and experience so much crap that it's hard to believe any faith. I wish I could say otherwise, but I witness men behaving like jerks on a daily basis. Again, who are these guys? And this great men crap. I guarantee you, she could find, if she shut up for once and actually had a positive attitude, and didn't have to be so, what was her words, strong personality, that she could find men out there that were honest, that wouldn't lie to her, that were good to her, have fun, all that reliable. But I guarantee she wouldn't want them because they probably would not look physically the way she wanted or felt entitled to. They wouldn't have the job that she felt that her guy should have. They wouldn't have the income that, I can go on and on, but you get the point here. No, she wants all those guys to have these qualities, but within a certain, package deal. It doesn't work that way. 9, I'm externally getting disappointed by guys. I must be terrible at picking men because they never live up to my expectations. Well, I think it's been proven, because we're going over a spectrum of 6 years, you are terrible at picking men. And expectations, huh? I don't even expect that much. No, we know you expect a lot. I just want a decent human being who treats me with respect and consideration. But I end up with selfish men who talk a good game and don't follow up. I don't understand why this keeps happening unless all guys just suck. Though, honestly, lady, at this point, we can say you suck. You suck at your choices of men. And you're an asshole for then labeling all guys out there that basically being like this. It's nonsense. But again, you never feel bad for women like this. And there are a lot of them out there. I know most of you guys at least know one, or have known one, because they put themselves in this situation. I know some of you guys watching this right now are nodding your head and you're thinking of your sister, or your cousin, or a gal you work with who's always babbling on about her fucking, or some acquaintance. Maybe you had an ex-girlfriend like this. Number 10. I've literally given up on dating because I don't trust anyone. The irony is, the number one person she shouldn't trust in the dating situation is herself, her own choices. I don't see what the point of dating is, and I know I can't go past a certain point of commitment with anybody. I would take a damn lot of effort at this point from any guy who wants to be with me because I have such a difficult time trusting. It's a discouraging truth. I'm aware that's my issue, but it is an issue that I've been caused by their behavior. I guarantee you guys that if she stopped being the one who chose who she went out with, and somebody fixed her up with who she says she wants, a guy that wouldn't treat her like crap, wouldn't lie, your typical good guy, even if he wasn't your nice guy, just a good guy, and I guarantee you she would turn down or screw up with every single one of them because they won't meet her standards, or because just her attitude is, even this guy here, yeah, he's nice, but you know what? He doesn't meet my standards. He's going to screw me over anyway. 11. I think even if I find a great man, I won't believe it's possible. I'm so freaking jaded at this point, I'm not sure I trust myself to recognize whether a man is good. That's one truthful statement she said. I worry that I'll let my feelings cloud my judgment and end up hurt once again. I'm so tired of the games, the dishonesty, and the drama. Bullshit, you love the drama. That's why you're with these guys. I want something simple and good and joyful, and I'm scared of never getting it. I just have to hope in my heart of hearts that there's a guy out there who will prove me wrong. Well, That was 6 years later after the other articles, and you learned she hasn't learned anything. This is what men are dealing with today. This is an example of why so many men aren't interested in dating, relationships, and certainly not marriage. And you got a whole massive part of the population of gals are just like this, and they're getting older and older and more pissed off and bitter. And at the end of the day, sure, they've been out with jerks who treat them like crap, and that ain't cool. But they chose those guys. They repeatedly go for the same type of guys, and yet whine and complain that they're alone. And they set their standards so high that their dating pool is so small. Of course, they're not going to find that guy. And again, in my opinion, the older they get, you got to be realistic on what you can attract, because the number one card that women have, let's be honest, are their looks. I'm being honest here. It is not their job title. It is not their income. It's not their degrees, or usually multiple advanced degrees. It's not all those things. It is the looks. Then comes the personality, because the first thing we look at are looks. Now, women's looks are going to change over time. She's going to get older, as does us. Remember that. So then a second big thing is her personality. Is she feminine? Is she easy to be around? Is she fun? Is she trustworthy? Is she a good person? Okay, if she doesn't have that and her looks are fading, what do you have to offer? Right? This woman here, her attitude is not that good. And remember from the previous articles from 6 years ago, obviously she was unwilling to change anything about herself that obviously would turn off decent guys. And therefore, 6 years later, here she is. And I'm willing to bet you guys that if she still did articles, and probably somewhere there are articles out there, 2 years later, which is now, or 6 years from now, it'll be the same situation. Or she might settle with a guy just to not be alone, and will be miserable and complain about the whole thing. That is the world we're in right now. It is what it is. So this is why, again, you guys who've made the choice to be bachelors, maybe you've been divorced, or just you realize you don't want to get married or have relationships, and people can't understand why you've chosen the life you do. Well, this is a perfect example. So anytime you may doubt that maybe you made the wrong choice, well, remember articles like this. This is widespread. And for you young guys out there that are in your 20s are watching this, because I got a big chunk of you guys are in your 20s, and you obviously see a lot of gals your age that are, addicted to social media. They're always taking pictures of themselves, maybe some on OnlyFans. They're behaving like young 20-something Gen Z tards behave. This will be them later on in time. I guarantee it. So work on yourselves, focus on your purpose, your grind, and maybe for you relationship guys out there, there are some good girls. And you know what? I know people can say that, SSM, you sound just like her, because you see most women out there, yeah, there are a lot of women got issues out there. You can see it here. But the thing is, the difference is that guys aren't like this. It really is the truth. Gals like her always go for the same guys. Far more women out there are more, the way she complains about guys being all bad and all that, well, we know darn well what is really out there. But there are good girls out there. There really are. It's just, sadly, they're hard to find. Hopefully, there'll be the pendulum will swing the other way, maybe in a generation or so. But in the meantime, this is how it is. So, guys, there you go. I know a lot of you wanted to hear what happened to her in 2023. Guess what? Very predictable. And that's usually how it is. So, never feel bad for them. When you have women to complain to you that are in your family and all that, you can just walk away. Don't even listen to it, because they bring this problem on themselves. The drama, the turmoil, and they always go for the same guys. And for you guys out there that are relationship guys, maybe you're thinking like her. Man, all the same girls I always seem to date. Well, look at the same type of gals you always date. That could be kind of a clue for your own situation. But anyhow, guys, there you go. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let us think about this. And, guys, you find a good article you want me to cover, or you got your own personal story that you're brave enough to send in, definitely send it my way. strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And if it's a good one, I'll definitely cover it. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.